Hello, my name is Joe Dix and I'm the Engagement Officer for Cape York Natural Resource Management. Today I'm talking with Wren McLean about cassowaries on Cape York. So welcome, Wren. First off, would you like to tell us about your job and your work with cassowaries?
Sure. Hi, Joey. Hi, everyone out there. So my name is Wren, and I'm talking to you from Bundjalung country down in northern New South Wales today. But I've spent quite a bit of time working up in North Queensland, and I specialise in wildlife ecology, protected area management, and environmental education. That's my sort of very broad job. But in 2014, I undertook a quite an extensive survey of cassowaries in the Daintree lowlands, and I worked with the Jabal Rangers for some of the time doing that.
Is there only one species of cassowary or?
In Australia, we have one species of cassowary, the southern cassowary. Um, and in Papua New Guinea, or in the island of New Guinea, I should say, there is also that southern cassowary plus two other species as well. So there's a dwarf cassowary which lives in the highlands, and there's a northern cassowary which lives on the northern coastline. So there's actually three living species of cassowaries today, but in times gone by, there's known to have been other species of cassowaries, including a fossil that was found actually down here in the subtropics of a now extinct another dwarf species of cassowaries.
Yeah,
So
right.
yeah.
Cape York cassowaries, they're obviously, are they the same as what we'd find in what you will find in the wet tropics? So,
Yeah,
yep,
so they're the same species, but they're a isolated subpopulation. So they're going to be genetically different to the wet tropics because there's no continuous rainforest habitat currently at this time in history. There's
yep,
no continuous habitat. So the genetics of the Cape York population has been separate from the wet tropics population
yeah,
for
right,
for quite a few quite a few years. We'll
yep.
say hundreds of thousands of years, probably. Yeah. Yeah. So the region's got Cape York has around 5,000 square kilometres of potentially suitable habitat for cassowaries.
hmm
Mm.
Yeah, right. Like, do we actually know how many cassowaries might be here in Cape York, or where they might be sort of based, where we might find them?
Mm. Well, there is cassowaries known from the Iron Range,
Hmm.
from the McElrath Range, from the Eastern Dunes, and from the Jardine River. Um, but this only covers some of the areas that of that potentially suitable habitat. So
Yep.
um, that's where they're known from, and but there has also been a decline in distribution up at the Lockerbie Scrub near Bamaga. So
Hmm.
there hasn't been any sightings up there since 1986. So that's concerning, and we don't know why. And that definitely deserves some more investigation and working with traditional owners um, to try and find out some more about that would be really
Yeah.
important. So yeah, we don't actually really know how many are on Cape York because it's kind of early days for surveying. Like it's only been going on for the last few years, and obviously it's a huge area. So
Yeah, that's
yeah.
right. Why are cassowaries listed as a threatened species? Is there any reason in
Mm,
particular why?
yeah. Well, cassowaries, they rely on rainforest and potentially, I mean, preferably primary rainforest for their food supply, and also, it's their habitat. So that's where they live. And lowland rainforests actually are known to support the highest densities of cassowaries. So just generally, habitat loss and fragmentation and habitat degradation is the biggest threat to cassowaries,
Mm.
and that is ongoing. With weed invasion, with feral animals like pigs and cattle destroying habitat, which that's definitely an issue on Cape York. So we definitely say, yeah, habitat loss, fragmentation, and degradation are the biggest threats to cassowaries, but also domestic and pig hunting dogs definitely take their toll on cassowaries, and yeah, and also now again talking more about the wet tropics because we don't know so much about what the main threats are in Cape York yet
Yeah,
and how
yep.
that affects them. The wet tropics are now crisscrossed with roads, and of course, vehicle strike is a huge killer of cassowaries as well.
Yeah. Have any measures been taken to address these threats? And if so, have any of them been successful?
On Cape York, I think we're really looking at habitat degradation by
Yep.
cattle pigs, and also hot, late, dry season fires. So obviously those fires are a threat to rainforests, and by people keeping up their cultural burning practices, they're protecting cassowary habitat. So I think that is a really, really important thing that's going to become more and more obvious the more we look into it. And there's definitely been a resurgence of the wider acknowledgement of the importance of cultural burning across the whole
Yeah.
continent. And yeah, so I think we will really see that this is so important for protecting cassowaries as well. And yeah, maybe on the Cape too, the other threat it's a difficult one to address, but is food shortages after cyclone. So that
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
really cause a lot of damage to a population if they haven't got food for 6 months after a cyclone comes through. So, down in Mission Beach and places down south, there has been feeding stations set up, but that's probably, it's a bit more practical when it's a highly populated area. When you've got a
Yeah.
remote area like Cape York, that's definitely more difficult to.
Yeah. No, I can see that.
They've evolved with cyclones over hundreds and hundreds of thousands of years. They've lived with cyclones. It's just
Yeah.
that they, when their habitat is then shrunk as well, and they haven't got as big an area to be able to forage in, then there's more and more pressures start to compound on them. But yeah, they definitely have been able to be resilient enough to survive many cyclones, over the time. So one thing that has been noted is that they will use other food sources such as hermit crabs. So they'll even go down into the mangroves. They have been witnessed, sighted doing that, eating crabs and things. So
Wow.
they will actually utilize other food resources other than rainforest fruits.
Well, there you
So yeah, that's survival foods. Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Survival instinct. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
well, there
one
you
thing to
go.
note is also it's difficult because they're a big black, and they're a very dark color. They're a dark black color. They can overheat in the sun really quickly. So that's why
Yeah.
they're kind of restricted to those shady environments as well. If they start to I'm going to do a big trek from across the savannah, they're
Mm.
probably not going to do that well. Actually, they're going to overheat.
So why is it important that we protect this northern population of the southern cassowary?
Well, I mean, cassowaries have a symbiotic relationship with the rainforest. They depend on the rainforest, and the rainforest depends on them. So they distribute the seeds well, we know like around 215 species of rainforest fruits
That's
they eat,
incredible.
and then they poop out the seeds and start to, they basically ensure that forest regenerates and it stays diverse. So definitely some of the species have shown positive germination effects from going through a cassowary's gut. So
Yeah.
yeah, so without the cassowary, we'd probably see that a lot of those species, or some of those species, might become rarer. And certainly my theory down here in the subtropics, which is where I am now, is that some of those larger fruited rainforest species are endangered here because we don't have any animal that actually spreads them around. And if that dwarf cassowary that was here all those years ago probably did that role. So the other thing is they're just a magical bird. They're just one of the, they're like a crazy looking dinosaur bird. They are just so cool, and people love them, and that's enough of a reason just to look after them, isn't it?
So how can people in the community help to improve the conservation of our southern cassowary?
Definitely not taking dogs, especially pig hunting dogs, into rainforest areas, I think is really important. Yeah, we know that there are some tragedies that go on when that happens. It's also, yeah, I think, like I mentioned before, continuing to practice cultural burning, and sharing that knowledge, and making sure that all happens in the right way to protect rainforest. Just being aware this is actually their territory, this is their realm, and just step lightly and protect it. So yeah, I think fires and obviously pigs and cattle, if we can do our best to try and get them out of those rainforest areas. And that's a tricky one because we don't want to be putting up fences everywhere because fences restrict cassowary movement too, as well as
Yes.
other wildlife. So it's a really hard one to know how to, yeah, keep cattle and pigs out of rainforest areas. But you know, it's being worked on.
Well, thank you for talking with me today, Ren. I hope we get the chance to sit down and talk more about the northern population of southern cassowary and how they're doing in the near future. Hopefully, maybe one day up in the Iron Range, eh?
There, I look forward to getting up there again. And yeah, thanks so much, Joey.